This is Wilson Morales from Black Film and TV. We're here with director Cierra Glaude here regarding episode 3 of Power Book 4, Force. How are you?
I'm swell. How about yourself?
Good. Obviously, there's always a lot that goes on per episode. And when you're coming in here, how much research do you have to do? Not only just going through the script, but, had you seen the previous episode and season so that way you can be in tune like the rest of the audiences?
Yeah, oh for sure. I before I even get to the show, like I do a watch down. I watch every single episode. I kind of know what the tone is. I know what the visual language is, things like that. And then I always read all the episodes before mine because I'm nosy and I just really like to know what's going on, especially with my actors. I like to be able to be like, remember in that episode a long time ago when they had you messed up? Remember that, like take that into this scene too. And so it can kind of like reignite them in those ways and stuff like that. So my process is definitely a thorough watch down, a read down if I need to, and also just talking with all the powers that be, the showrunner about the tone, the writer about the tone, and other things that are going on in the season upcoming that I don't necessarily know about but need to be a little bit privy to and things like that. So definitely a collaborative process with a little research involved.
Now, when you have the script, and obviously it's laid out as far as how the scene is supposed to be, do you add in your own flavor as far as your skills, as far as how you want it to play out, even though it may read differently than what you want to do, or is it just like, okay, I see it. Some scenes are easier to do. Some scenes you can add in your own touch.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Like some of the scenes, there's not too much wiggle room, especially like if it's like super pertinent to the story. There are other scenes where you might have a little wiggle room, and like especially when you're scouting and reading and stuff for the first time, so like going through it with your writer and stuff like that, you can kind of, even sometimes when you're on tone with the showrunner, you can be like, well, what do you think about this? And like you can finesse it a little bit to be just what you need story wise, or like what you need when it comes to putting your own sauce on it. Sometimes you might have to do a little zhuzhing based on like the location and stuff like that. Like, this is not physically possible. What if we did something like this? And so, sometimes those things can live in those situations. But yeah, I'm always trying to you know, put my sauce on it. Like when you get it, it's got salt and pepper on it, but I'm coming in with garlic powder, onion powder, little smoked paprika, really trying to dress it up and stuff like that. So definitely it's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, but like I'm the one that see it right before it go out. I'm like the little expo person that put it all together.
With Tommy this year, he seems to always not care. Like, I'm just going to do what I got to do. I'm not afraid. It's almost like it's the same tone from the previous episode, from the previous seasons. It's like, is there a chip to be knocked off, or you just keep them constant?
Oh no, I think with somebody like Tommy, like you gotta have a straight shooter. He like Tommy knows his purpose. You know what I'm saying? And that's why like I think a lot of people respect him, because like he is who he is. And you know what to expect like when you come across Tommy. And a lot of that is just coldness, ruthlessness. The only times we really see him get emotional is like with his family. But when it comes to business, like business is business. There's no like it ain't no time for all that other stuff. And so, I think that's just what Tommy has been about, and that's why we're trying to just keep him like foot on the gas throughout this season.
And when it comes to everybody else, because they're all family members, it seems like there's dissension in the ranks. Diamond and Jenard, the other families out there, no one seems to be put together, and it's going to come to a halt at some point. But because this is a series, we got to lay it out to see how it's going to play out.
Yeah.
How do you see that playing out? Obviously, we got to take its time, but we are watching it episode by episode to see, okay, Jenard, he's on the brink of like, is he going to collapse under pressure,
Yeah.
or is he going to get tough out of this?
I think the adage of, nobody wins when the family feuds is just true in this instance. Like where you see all of the breakdown and all of the tension in these people that can't get it together. And so while you have like, Jenard and Diamond's relationship, deteriorating and stuff like that, you got the Flynn's falling apart and they got mutiny, within their nuclear family. But then on the opposite end of that spectrum, you got like Tommy and JP and D Mac and Kate all trying to like come back together. And so again, I think that's gonna be like the anchor in that situation, and what's gonna allow them to like handle their business and move forward when all these other people are falling apart. And it's like it show you what's more beneficial to you is having your shit together as opposed to y'all infighting and imploding.
Mm-hmm. You know, this is going to air after the episode airs. So, like, we can talk about the scene where, you know, one guy gets his hand, you know, frozen and then knocked off.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, we need to establish that the new guys are the bad guys and they're badder than ever before. You know, so like, what went into shooting that particular scene?
That scene was interesting because it's like, you know, at the top of that scene, we try to do a little fake like it's Tommy and Diamond that have got caught up. And you see them kind of share a look before they kind of whisk the other people in. And then shooting that scene was fun. It was a lot of energy and stuff like that. And again, it's just like upping the stakes and just like you said, the new guys are the baddest ones, and those are the ones you got to watch out for. And you know, I think even between Miguel and Tommy, it sets that precedence of like, don't mess up or get caught slipping because like, you know, some treacherous stuff will happen. So I think it also gives us, you know, those little added stakes and stuff we need for, you know, knowing we got a new really ruthless villain on the loose.
I've known who you are because I remember you directed an episode of Queen Sugar. You've done other work. When you walked into here, what part of your skill set you think was improved as you either went into the production of this episode or after the production?
Well, in between my first Queen Sugar episodes and then my Power Force episode, I did a lot of episodes. I did like probably like 10 or 12 episodes. And so I had a lot of practice with stunts in between that first episode and then. And so I think going into an episode that has a lot to do like the, you know, the torture chamber scene, the Lamborghini car chase scene, and just some of these other things, I think my confidence in knowing like, oh, okay, these things aren't that bad. Like I'm gonna rely on my stunt coordinators and like my art department and stuff to get the broken hand, you know, like the mold and stuff right, and you know, just like the safety and stuff for the stunt. So I've honestly been feeling like pretty good and confident for a while, and so I also think I take that in there too, is like knowing that like in those moments I wasn't all that new to this, and like I knew what I was doing, and so like, you know, that gave me a lot of like swag going into it. And you know, as a director, you gotta have like that confidence and that swag for other people to kind of believe you. And so I feel like in between my first couple Queen Sugar episodes and that's what I gained.
I wonder how strong is the script supervisor to you when you come in on an episode like episode 3, and even though you have to have watched obviously episode 2 and maybe previous episodes and seasons, so that way everything's in line, because we as the audience, we're gonna know, we're seeing it the following day or the following 2 days afterwards. But you have to remember that stuff, you know, like as a director when you're coming in, unless you're directing all of the episodes, you gotta follow somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, script supervisors, I be wearing them out. I be asking them so many questions, and they're like my right hand person on that, because they can also, you know, they're there for all the other episodes, and so they can go back and like with my episode in particular, my episode starts where another one ends, and so it's like they help me pull up those things and the frames and the clips and stuff that they have, and they really just kind of like help remind you like where people are coming from and going if you don't already know, which as a director, most of the times you should, but we got a lot of stuff to think about. We forget. We need reminders. And, you know, there's a lot of times where what makes it on the page that I read ain't necessarily what got shot. You know what I'm saying? So they keep me in line with that in case anything changed that I missed or whatever. So, man, script supervisors, so handy. Love them.
Hey, it's good to see you on this show. It's good to see you, you know, obviously directing the show. And, you know, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, people are in tune every week to see how it's going to play out. And so, you know, we can't say much more because we've got to wait till episode 4 or 5, yada, yada. But congratulations, obviously, on this gig. And as you mentioned, you're always working. So I'll be looking forward to see what you do next.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for following along that long. That means a lot.
All right. Take care.
All right, toodles.